Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from the broadside of a barn.
Well, you know
target
what?
practice. I don't know.
This is what happens.
But the 501st is going to be doing a live test fire in a moment. We could not be in a safer place.
Yeah, good
Alan,
point.
did you bring your shuriken, or is it going to best my kunai?
Yeah.
Oh, I brought the full samurai.
I got to find a new show.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we've never been here before, Brandon, and I thought it's time. We visit all locations eventually. So.
Yeah, you keep booking us in horrible places. This is probably the calmest one we've ever been at. I don't really see me getting eaten by something that Alan's trying to tame.
No.
But aren't barns where all the alien invasions happen?
No, that's in an open field, man.
Okay. I don't know.
I do like the
That's
sign.
over there.
I like the fitness sign, though. It says if you can make it across the field in 10 seconds, great. The bull can do it in 11.
Okay. I gave it a shot, Brandon, and say what you will. We got a minute and 10 seconds out of this gag. So
That's because we could literally, Joe, you could come in and we could all wake up from comas from the week before, and we could rattle on about whatever gets said.
So welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And we've got a few topics at hand. Brandon, you brought in your Nintendo Switch.
That's because I'm addicted to Hogwarts Legacy.
And I thought it was worthy of discussion. Yeah. I mean, just even in the last, 10 years, gaming has really changed. I feel like I should get into video gaming. I don't know why I haven't, but...
I mean, I just recently watched a series on Netflix called High Score, which is all about the history of video games.
I saw that, Max. Yeah, maybe we could chime in on that. That might be worth it.
See, we really need to get Max back online with modern day, because he's turning into Allan.
Well, they get up to modern day in that one. It's not bad. But Brandon, the thing is, maybe we could just talk about you're basically, it's gotten to the point where it's interactive storytelling versus being passive. And to me, I always prefer being more active. So maybe I need to get myself a Switch.
I think you do. I think you
would
love it. And we can talk more about that later on in the show.
You also need to expose yourself to different animes that talk about how active and interactive can we get with games, to the extent that virtual reality literally becomes you walking as an avatar in a new world.
Yeah. Well, it's coming.
Ready Player 2.
Yeah. So we have that on the table because it's, it's all encompassing. I mean, video games are everywhere. And also because of some news that broke this in the last couple of days, we are later going to talk a little bit about high testosterone movies, because some of them are pretty funny. Some of them don't work. Some of them really work well. But what brought the conversation up is, you guys, man, this hit me out of the blue. I had no idea, but we lost another. Is it safe to say we lost a legend? Carl Weathers passed away.
Easy word legend.
From
in his sleep, right? I mean, was he sick? I didn't even know he was. He looked great the last time I saw him in The Mandalorian.
I don't want to throw aspersions on anyone here in the room, but Joe, he was old.
He's 76. That's not old anymore.
That is old for Hollywood.
Alan's like 8 times older than that.
Yeah, but Alan does experiments in his basement. But I mean, you think about it. Apollo Creed to Grief Cargo, he's had so many roles, and a lot of them are very action filled. I mean, he's literally Action Jackson.
Well, isn't it interesting that there's some people, I think of people like Alan Rickman and people like that, where if you probably had a stopwatch of the time they're actually on screen in certain movies, it's probably not that much. It might even be 10% of a movie, and yet they steal every scene. Every minute they're on screen, they're stealing. And he was kind of that way.
Yeah, I mean, they have that presence. The moment you hear Carl Weathers' voice, you know who he is. You know exactly what position he's holding in this film or TV series you're watching. I mean, even as Chubbs in Happy Gilmore. I mean, he
I didn't. I forgot about that. Okay.
No, because we already know what he's going to look like as an angel.
Yeah,
because he was in Little Nicky. And all I have is an image of him right now in my head saying it's all in the hips.
That's the thing. In Little Nicky, it's the same character he played in Billy Madison. He just kept the character going.
The guy could act, though. Well, I mean, even as Apollo Creed, he had a character arc. You went from hating the guy to respecting him to like, okay, I actually really like this dude, and mourning him. Yeah.
I mean,
in the course of two movies.
There's a lot of loss in the Rocky films, but I don't think anything hits you as hard as Apollo Creed's death. And I mean, that's not just because Dolph Lundgren hit him hard enough to put him through a wall.
Right.
But
I thought it was Mr. T.
No. He died. He was
No, he was killed in the ring by
That's right.
the evil, the evil Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's another one of those movies we'll probably touch it. That's a high testosterone.
Absolutely.
Movie that works. So
super fueled.
So, do you know what happened, Brandon? He said he died peacefully.
They just said
in his sleep.
natural causes. I don't think they've released an autopsy report, but I mean, his rep said that he passed in his sleep.
He's a guy I don't remember seeing a lot of kerfluffles with him. He just seemed like he would go to show. People would see him, meet him at conventions. Some of our good friends have met him at some of the bigger conventions. It seems like he was a decent dude, a lot of fun,
and a great actor. I mean, no matter which role he was playing, you believed he was that character.
Yeah, because even in The Mandalorian, if you really think about it, I don't think he's on camera that much, but he's really, I don't know, the guy was great, and he could flip a switch going from. Because in theory, he's a bounty hunter, so he's kind of a sleaze bag, but he also had his morals and his rules that he followed. So I don't know, man. But it's really a shame.
He ended the series as basically the ruler of a township. I don't remember exactly what their whether he was
he was okay by that time.
Or a governor or whatever. But he cared about the people that were under his protection.
The planet that has basically one small city. There's like 80 people there, and he's the mayor. So, but he was responsible for one of the. Wasn't he credited with him and Arnold Schwarzenegger as having the most macho handshake of all time?
Yeah,
is that right?
That was in Predator. Yeah.
What is that? I'm trying to remember that.
All right, that is Dutch and the Dutch and the guy meet each other and they grab each other, and the handshake is very aggressive because they don't like each other.
What's really sad is how many people out there use the meme but don't realize where it's from.
Oh, that thing's a man quake of biceps. I mean, their biceps were popping biceps.
It's like
it was hilarious.
Pretty funny. So, all right. So in that vein, we're gonna talk about high testosterone movies in our continued salute to Carl Weathers.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. Mark Hamill still hasn't returned their phone calls. The Geek Patrol is back.
I got a text here from California. Could that be? Hang on, guys. Okay. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. He's going to make the call sooner or later.
It's going to be your restraining notice.
It's going to say, may the courts be with you.
Yeah, there we go. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, of course, we are... We don't really mourn around here. What we do is we celebrate the life of, if we lose somebody that we lost Carl Weathers this week at the age of 76. And so it inspired us to think about high testosterone movies, I suppose you could say, because of course he is well known for making the most manly macho handshake of all time,
right?
With Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, we were going to kind of round table some some of our favorite high testosterone movies, whether they work or not, they're memorable. I was going to basically just say Rocky 1 through 4. In my mind, it work. Those all work for me. I stopped thinking about Rocky after the 5th one, but especially when you get into Mr. T showing up and
that
Dolph
was in the
Lundgren
3rd one.
And all that. Right. And
Hulk Hogan is Thunder Lips. I mean,
that was great. He wrestles him. But I think those work. I mean, and I actually think there's good lessons.
Right.
And there's good, especially the first Rocky movie. I mean, the thing didn't win Best Picture of the Year. It was.
I don't.
It was critically acclaimed because it was. All right.
And
the first thing about that movie is the protagonist didn't win.
Nope.
No.
Rocky lost.
Apollo wins in the first movie.
Apollo Creed won.
Carl Weathers beat.
But he sort of won. I mean, he won.
It's the moral victory. It's the fact that this young punk from Brooklyn, it's like he
Philadelphia.
And the last words you get out of both of them before you head into the ending is, "Ain't gonna be no rematch." And the other one's like, "No kidding."
And then
then you're like the movies now where everybody's ended, but Rocky is still. You were celebrating the fact that Rocky is still alive at the end of the movie.
He proves himself.
Yeah.
You know,
And I
He
don't
went
even,
the distance.
it's
with
the
world
underdog
champion.
story.
I don't even really like boxing, but I like those movies. So what do you got, Brandon? What's
Okay.
your high
All right, so
testosterone go to?
when it comes to the high testosterone, just like pure fuel leaded movies, you got to go with Schwarzenegger.
Well, that's wide ranging
because you've got
Yeah.
Commando.
Okay.
You've got Red Heat. You've got. I mean, there was just something about Schwarzenegger.
Red Heat actually had acting in it.
It did. It did.
It actually had acting in it.
That is true.
Commando
but,
did not.
But there was.
But it had Ray Dong Chong.
And
Predator.
Alyssa Milano. There you know.
Yeah, you did.
But you had the Predator movies. You know, I mean, well, he was only in the first one. Danny Glover took over in the second one, and it's a more surreal kind of suspense thriller, but it's still got that drip.
Yep.
Where you walk in there into this movie, you start sweating in the action scenes. But Schwarzenegger, he did. I mean, you think about Terminator, but the first Terminator movie is not really that kind of movie. It also is a suspense thriller.
It's a sci-fi movie. It's not necessarily a testosterone
It's a good
movie.
sci-fi.
But
and
because he's a
Schwarzenegger
robot.
bent the rules
But when
because he wasn't the hero.
That's true. And what you got, though, in the second one, and this is what seemed to happen a lot in the 80s, was that your first movie is going to hit you as a suspense thriller, Alien, Terminator. The second two are going to be these high-octane action films. They brought in, like, Space Marines for the second Alien movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Aliens, I mean, it's and that's when, of course, we had Bill Pullman, who was killed by a Predator, an Alien, and a Terminator.
Yeah, Pullman's been killed by everything.
Yeah,
and God rest his soul.
And I think we'd be very remiss before we get out of the 80s if we didn't mention Top Gun. It's both patriotic and testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it is.
It's all
They
about
had that,
brotherhood and camaraderie.
that volleyball scene at the beach. I mean, that's as corny as it gets. So
I don't know. The volleyball scene at the beach is very, very corny, but I think they beat that in Top Gun Maverick with the beach football scene.
maybe,
Because
Yeah.
At that point, they weren't taking it serious. They're just like, okay, well, this is the gratuitous.
I was gonna say, I don't
we've
know.
got to put this scene in.
Seen Maverick, it's very serious.
It's a great movie. I love that movie. But all right, so
But no, Max.
so
you
you're talking
nail it.
Arnold
You
Schwarzenegger.
nail it though. Top Gun. From the moment, I mean, everything about it, from the motorcycles to the F-14s to the the biting of the gum by Val Kilmer in and of itself is basically how a man goes, I like you, but I don't like you.
Yeah.
That
We're frenemies.
right. One of the first times you genuinely see frenemies, in the evolution, where you didn't have to wait to the sequel, where someone comes in and is like, all right, I need your help.
That's true. Yeah. He had an arc, you know. Tom Cruise has the same character arc in every movie in the 80s, though. I mean, I hate to say it's literally point by point.
It's true, but
it works.
And the thing is that a lot of people in today's generation will look back on those movies and go, they're so toxic. No, they weren't.
Who says that? I mean,
a lot of people
up.
do.
Yeah.
You want to talk about toxicity? You look at what you've got in the male action categories now. I love me some Fast and Furious movies. It's all about family and everything. But at the same time, it's just goofy. And it's when they finally decided we're just going to be goofy and let it go. I mean, they took...
When did they go from taking themselves serious to like, no, we're just going to be a parody of
I think the
ourselves?
last time we
3 or 4,
really... The last time we really...
jumped the shark.
5 is pretty hefty on the seriousness.
And did they actually jump a shark?
Well, that's coming.
No,
Max.
no.
They jumped a submarine.
They jumped
That
a submarine.
counts.
They flew to outer space in a car.
Tyrese
That
Gibson and Ludacris went to space in a car.
That's heavy metal.
And that's
baby.
not even in the
That's
latest
heavy
one.
metal. Yeah, that's heavy
That
metal.
was in, I think, 8, maybe 9. I don't know. There's so many of them at this point.
Family.
I mean, in Fast X, they just introduced Dante Reyes, which is basically Jason Momoa playing the Joker.
Yeah,
And we've got John Cena on a rocket car.
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Why not?
I got a sort of a subtopic for this with regards to this.
Okay.
Are there some characters, or there's some actors rather, that just exude testosterone, where it's like no matter what you put them in, they're always going to make a movie fueled with testosterone?
Well,
Yes.
I mean, isn't The Rock? I mean, but The Rock.
The Rock has
can
a comedic side.
He can be funny, and then it doesn't even have to be about
That
that.
that doesn't stop
John
it.
Cena.
Alan Richson, the guy who plays Reacher
Yeah.
in the TV series,
Yeah.
he's also in the latest Fast and Furious movie. He's he played Leon. He played Raphael in the Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies, but he's just like pure aggression. But then you see him outside of it, and he's just a sweetheart.
Or how about Keanu Reeves?
Well,
nicest guy ever.
Okay. Oh, we forgot about John Wick. All right, we're going to continue the macho talk when we come back here on Geek Tank Radio.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The Muppets hate these guys. The Geek Patrol is back.
Okay. We just did. Okay, yeah. Well, I do like Cookie Monster, but he's got a restraining order. So,
hey, hey, me and Animal had been on tour together. It wasn't fun, but we got along fine.
Big Bird was delicious.
Okay. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And, you know, here at the Cumulus stations, you never know who's going to walk in or who's going to be around. We got our friend Josh Rivera here. He's the high testosterone producer from 98.9 The Roar down the hall. Josh, hey, it's good to have you out here.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I've never heard of that nickname before.
Well, with the passing of Carl Weathers, we like to celebrate, people rather than, mourn and get. So we thought it's a perfect time to roundtable some of our favorite high testosterone movies. We've covered the Rocky franchise. We've talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, his body of work. And Allan, you were bringing now you had a one you're bringing up, and I don't know whether it is high testosterone or not. You always like to be controversial.
Well, the highest testosterone scene ever in any movie was the gunfight scene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay, how about a movie we've seen?
Everybody's has
seen that.
This,
all right.
Joe. Everybody on the planet.
Have you seen it, Josh?
Okay, so I have a reputation on the Nation of Jake that I haven't seen a lot of the movies before I was born. So
okay.
No,
that's
I
what I was
haven't
about to
seen
say.
All right.
You and Max are of a different generation.
Well,
so.
yeah. Then that case, all right, because this is like 4 minutes of nothing but three guys staring at each other, and everybody's gonna die. So I mean, it is nothing but suspense and testosterone. All right, however, we'll bring it forward a little bit. How about some craziness, absolute insanity of Pulp Fiction?
All right. So I think we're missing the mark here. We're talking about high testosterone movies, and Allan wants to go action-packed, fuel-injected movies. There is a difference.
That's what I wonder. Is testosterone just the big muscle, whatever?
Right.
Okay.
The big meathead who is your hero, who basically looks like he's going to pick up the small, like Nemesis and bite its head off.
Right.
Schwarzenegger, Stallone. Nowadays, you got Jason Statham, Vin Diesel, Jason Momoa. But Allan is hitting it. Dave Bautista. But Allan's hitting on a moment where if you can't talk about those kind of movies without talking about things like, John Wick or,
Ultra
Chinatown.
Violent. Okay.
Yeah. Things where you've got Tombstone.
What
Movies
about
where
that?
you've got, very manly men who aren't necessarily the meatheads, but they are, and yes, there's a lot of action and a lot of violence.
I have one that doesn't work, but go ahead, Max.
And I was going to kind of quote Yoda, well, size matters not. I think some of the most high testosterone movies is whenever you see Bruce Lee on the screen.
Anytime you saw Bruce Lee on the screen.
I don't know if you've ever actually paid attention when Bruce Lee's on. That, he may be light and he may be slim. Those are some serious testosterone-driven muscles.
Yeah.
You watch that body flex.
That little dude looked like a cat on steroids.
Yeah, it's,
What was
pretty much a cat on steroids. That's the best way to describe it.
And I'm thinking of, I have a Dave Bautista movie where he was still in Hong Kong making movies.
Oh.
Well, he was the Iron Golem in something, and he was just like walking through buildings and destroying stuff. And
yeah.
His pre-Guardians days.
Yeah, that was intense.
He was a monster.
I know the movie you're talking about, and I'm trying to remember the name, and it's a ridiculous name, but I can't think of what the name is
like the
right
Man
now.
with Iron Fist.
Yeah,
the Man with Iron Fist
because it's got RZA in it, and it's one of those ensemble pictures, and it's a lot of people you don't expect to be ass kickers, but they're there.
Everybody dies.
Right.
Josh, do you got any high testosterone movies that are your go-to or any
Okay, so
that
actually,
you like?
I'm going to throw a recent one out because I just saw The Iron Claw. Just came out a month or so ago. All those
Don't
guys,
give away the spoilers because I haven't seen it yet.
But if you don't know anything about the story, I highly recommend going to see it. But that movie has a lot of testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put it that
Well,
way.
it's 70s wrestlers, right?
Exactly.
Is it 70s?
70s and 80s. Yeah.
And how does Zach?
It's
Did
the
he?
family.
The Von
It's
Erichs.
the Von Erichs.
Did Zac Efron really put on all that muscle?
Yes.
Because I mean, and he's not a tall guy, right?
No, he's a little dude.
Wow. Okay. So the performances were good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The choreography, especially, because you're there to watch wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
These guys really did an impressive job.
They got Chavo Guerrero Jr. to come in and do the choreography for the matches, and Chavo's he's a consummate professional. He's been in the wrestling business since he was a teenager, and he's like our age.
Josh, let me ask you this because you just brought it. Okay, I'm thinking of 80s and spoof movies where it's like over the top macho, but with the Iron Claw, is this show the downside of that? I mean, obviously it's like
Sure.
that takes a toll on your body.
Yeah, well, you said no spoilers, so I won't spoil, but I will say it does show kind of the business of being, in that role and how much of a toll it takes on you physically. So it definitely shows those downsides.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, in that case,
I do
you're
want
going
to
to pick on
that.
Mickey Rourke.
With the wrestler.
Oh gosh,
but I mean, Mickey.
Just
Rourke,
look at how he looks right now.
Well,
I mean,
he looks like
he looks unhealthy.
Well, I mean, he's your favorite grandma.
However, I mean, Mickey, you talked about anybody that walks out on the screen, and you just look at him and go, "Oh, holy mother!"
Yeah,
Mickey Rourke is just. I mean, he's not the first guy that leaps to mind, but the minute you see him,
well, I mean, I think the first time I noticed him, because I mean, you see Mickey Rourke in things like 9.5 Weeks, which I don't recommend any of our younger viewers or listeners. But you've got you got that look for him.
He's fit.
He's
not
fit,
massive
right.
yet.
But then you get to Double Team, the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman, where he's the bad guy.
Yeah,
this is the first time you see Mickey Rourke just like pumped, and it's like he took that into Expendables too. When he's in the first two Expendables movies, and it's just wow.
I think the first movie I saw where I'm like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous was the I don't even remember what it was called, but it was the arm wrestling movie with Sylvester Stallone where the guy's guzzling over the top where the guy's guzzling motor oil.
Yeah. Over the top is
that's where I'm like, okay, it's
over the top is the great story of a father and son finally bonding over something. But it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. Totally ridiculous. But, how about RoboCop?
That's a
good one.
We're
sci-fi.
We're actually introducing that to Alyssa later tonight. She's never seen RoboCop. We're letting her see that
cool.
tonight.
Great movie.
So I will report on that next week. But Terry Crews, we got into Expendables, and you think about Terry Crews,
crazy. He's fun.
And I mean he can make his pecs bounce.
Yes,
he
can.
That's testosterone. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll probably have a few parting thoughts, and then when we come back, we're gonna hear all about Brandon's Nintendo Switch.
Why has it got to be mine?
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max. The rules never said radioactive mountain gorillas were prohibited. The Geek Patrol is back.
Allan.
Well,
I mean,
that's not in the rule book.
Okay. Shorter lifespans, but they get the job done. So you talk about high testosterone,
That's
too.
right. You
Okay.
gotta get this done.
And welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. We had our buddy Josh Rivera in here, the producer over at 98.9 The Roar, but he disappeared again. He came and went. People come and go in the studio.
You never know who's going to be on the air with us.
Hey, Brandon, I was ready to move along and discuss your Switch, but off the air, we were talking in honor of the passing of Carl Weathers. We were leaning into high testosterone movies, which, I mean, we could make hours of material about
That's
this,
true.
but I was ready to move along, but you guys won't let me because
No.
you said there's I made an offhanded comment. You were talking about Clint Eastwood. I said that's not a high testosterone performer.
Oh, we're gonna
I
argue
think
with
of
that one.
bloodthirst, the gunfights and everything with him, but I don't see him that way. But
Well, I mean,
you guys disagree.
See, it looks like you're thinking, Dirty Harry across the board, but no. I don't remember which one's the first one, but the Any Which Way You Can.
Any
Which Way You Can is the first one.
with his pet orangutan, and he would
and the
fight
crazy
people.
old lady that's his mother and the whole thing. Yeah.
And he did have one comment that I really thought was interesting, and I've remembered it to this day, where he said, "I'm starting to like the pain."
Yeah.
That was an interesting line for somebody to
And
say.
if that's not
but,
that's not a gym phrase right there. I mean,
and then there's Unforgiven, where they're all old.
that
And
is
they're
not.
just-
that to me is just
man,
showing
that is
what a
just Dude, if that doesn't got your heart pumping,
it hurt.
Watching epic actors like Gene Hackman and each other stare each other down.
See, because we talked about earlier. We were talking about the movies where the testosterone works and where the high testosterone doesn't work, and it's more subtle in Unforgiven, but it oozes old man. Yeah, we talk about No Country for Old Men being a movie that's like it's an amazing movie. You've never seen it, have you?
No, but you just made me think of something else. And I'm eager to get onto a new topic, but you guys just made me think of something.
Hey, that's what we do. We inspire thoughts.
Dude, I was in a high testosterone movie.
We don't think about Gene Hackman as much anymore. He's older. I don't even know if he's performing anymore. I think
he's retired.
I think he's retired.
I believe he's
However, okay, you talk about a guy. Can you be high testosterone without ever throwing a punch?
Yes.
And he strikes me as an actor that you talk about a guy that could intimidate as a character or as a performer. And I'm like, a guy like that, you really believe he could rip your head off even though he looks like a marshmallow?
Right. The French Connection, the car chase.
Yeah.
Dude, if that isn't just absolute testosterone fueled of not a great movie by any stretch, but The Quick and the Dead.
The Quick and the Dead, yeah. I'll say that it is a great movie, but not for the reasons that you would normally say that cinema is great.
It's not going to win any acting awards, but let's face it.
That's one of the first movies where you actually see that young Leo DiCaprio is not just a pretty face; he actually can act.
The dude can act. Yeah.
He was great in that as the obnoxious child. Man, he was brilliant.
Sharon Stone, and of course, she can knock it out of the park, and I mean that's one of those few times where and
The Preacher.
Yeah, The Preacher.
Yeah.
It was Russell Crowe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of Russell's earlier.
Now wait a minute. Okay, you just said that. I never saw the movie, but the Zack Snyder 300. I mean, how much more?
Dude, that drips from the edges.
Right, women came out of the theater pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to get us canceled, but okay, yeah.
All right, let's drop the mic on that one. Can we finally move along?
No, because I mean, at this point, we don't have enough time to really discuss.
Okay, let's tease it because Brandon, you brought it in.
I did.
But nobody in 300 is a huge testosterone beast. It's all actors.
Okay,
I
don't know. Gerard Butler can be. He's not so much anymore.
But he's not recognized as that.
Right.
That's not what he's known for. Gerard is not up there with Schwarzenegger on the bill.
No.
Okay,
but no. All right, you want to.
Here's all I wanted to say about this because I am not a video gamer at all.
You are not.
What I am appreciating though is that as I watch this, and for one thing, you can pause a game,
right?
Because I'm not going to spend 5 hours straight. I might spend an hour doing this. Yeah. However, I'm really anytime I sit there and watch TV, I'm starting to feel like kind of a bump. Like I'm not accomplishing anything.
Right.
I would much rather write a story than watch this,
You were looking for interactive theater.
So this is interactive story. It's evolved into that. In the Nintendo Switch, not to, drop a shameless plug, but it seems like a good introduction for me. I just want something, it's almost the size of a book. I can pick it up, play a game. You were talking about the Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah,
I love Harry Potter.
I got Hogwarts Legacy for Christmas, and I finally sat down and started. And I've been playing I would say I've put in about 14 hours. I'm at 19% of the game.
Okay. So, I mean, something like that appeals to me. It's like almost a choose-your-own-adventure type
How's
thing.
your direct tie-in to this with how many action-adventure games make more money than the movies?
Uncharted.
Yeah.
Uncharted definitely made more money as a game than it is
bigger. But I'm thinking of
let's face it, Mortal Kombat made a lot more money as a game than it'll ever make as a movie.
Here's my thing, you guys, because I'm thinking, okay, if I play Pac-Man for 4 hours straight, I don't know how much it enriched my life or even challenged me mentally. However, something like this to me is...
Did you play it with a rollerball or did you play it with a joystick?
Okay.
Because if you played it with a joystick, hand-eye coordination is perfect for carpentry.
Okay, whatever. I'm saying with the storytelling where you're basically working your way through a story, I feel like at least I'm learning something.
And with a lot of games out there nowadays, there's almost like a work of art. For example, like the music and the graphics. Like, for example, I'll go to a primitive graphic style, which is Hollow Knight. Has some of the most beautiful music in the world. It's only a 2D scroller with bug characters, but it's so profound in terms of its plot.
There you go.
Max, have you ever played Super Castlevania 4?
I have not, but I love Castlevania.
Okay, if you ever get a chance to play, when you get to the cave, you can hear the water dripping, but it's the most serene music you've ever listened to in a video game, and it totally takes you out of the real world and puts you into the position.
There we go.
And frightening enough for me, the most popular, most played musics in the world belong to video games.
Yeah, absolutely. The production has
Halo.
gone through the roof, and so
Legend of Zelda.
All the way to Angry Birds.
If it can interest somebody like me, they're doing something right. So let's maybe we'll revisit this next week because we're out of time, you guys. We got to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmstead. And apparently my challenge this week is to get Joe to buy a Switch.